we've done it. We've finally delved into what the core of this podcast is. Two sweaty nerds talking about Star Wars. Truly, this is the pinnacle of the pod. This is essentially who we are. Sad, pathetic. I'm going to nail it, huh?
Isn't it wild we tried to ignore our destiny and we ended up here anyway?
That's the thing with if you do a movie podcast, you're always going to get sucked into Star Wars. That's all that you just have to do it. You have to do it. And here we are. We're doing our dues, and then we'll do like a foreign indie film next week. But for now, we're doing Star Wars.
Yes, let's watch a Vinterberg film.
Ooh, a Vinterberg film. My name is Oscar.
And my name is Carl. And this is Who Would Watch This?
Who would watch this? Who would watch this?
Who?
Welcome to Who Would Watch This, the podcast where we watch a film, chat about the film, and then try and figure out who would watch this.
Today we're talking about Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. It currently has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 65%, an IMDb rating of 6.5, and a Letterboxd rating of 2.6. Oscar, what's the plot?
10 years after the initial meeting, Anakin Skywalker shares a forbidden romance with Padme Amidala, while Obi Wan Kenobi investigates an assassination attempt on the Senator and discovers a secret clone army crafted for the Jedi.
Sure, I guess that happens in this film.
That's the film. That's the film. The plot's nailed it. The plot's nailed it.
They leave out the hours of politics. Just the hours of it.
And the meetings. I love the meetings. Love a meeting. You know what? This film nails corporate life. A lot of meetings, you don't really need to be there, and yet you're there somehow.
Yeah. Let's rewind to a time when we hadn't seen the film, and we tried to predict who we thought would watch it.
Carl, I'm very scared. We're talking about Star Wars. I don't want to get bullied, so I'm going to say I love this film. Who would watch this? Everyone should watch this one. It's the best one. No, this I'm kind of keen. Do we
think people like have a nostalgia for this one?
I think the trilogy.
Yeah, I can understand nostalgia for the prequel trilogy people have come into, but
because people our age that watched it as a kid. You know, everyone that liked the original Star Wars goes, this is shit. Then everyone that's a kid our age watches it and kind of goes, well, fuck it. I grew up on these ones. I like these ones better. And I think some people are like, these are genius. It's like, no, they're not great. But I think they've transformed in like a funny... People have turned them into like... The jokes that come from all these and ragging on them is kind of more fun than them themselves.
At least, Phantom Menace has pod racing scene, has Darth Maul's a cool villain, has Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor having good fun. There's
Jar Jar Binks is introduced.
Yeah. But it's that's a bit of, upside for the first, and then the third one has all the Darth Vader stuff that really should have been a full trilogy. But it's even as a kid, I remember finding this a very, very boring movie.
I'm gonna be honest, Carl. Star Wars, I'm pretty lukewarm on Star Wars. However, I will say this right now: I got all my knowledge of Star Wars from playing the Lego Star Wars game. So next week, I'm going to ruin the podcast and compare it to the Lego Star Wars because the second one is okay, but I pretty much now know all the characters' names, but in Lego form. So I'm always very surprised when Darth Vader shows up and he's not a little minifigure. But I feel like, honestly, I've got Star Wars and I'm like, they're all good. And then I watch the films and go, ooh, there's a difference. There's a difference.
Yeah, I think as somebody that likes film, I'm a fan of Star Wars because some of the Star Wars are really good films. I'm not so invested in the franchise as a whole.
No.
That I get caught up in having to defend some of the series' shortcomings.
It's weird that it's like there's two sort of big fandoms. There's the first ones who genuinely like the film, and then people have kind of analyzed them and gone, these are actually pretty decent. They're very clever in the way that they use. They've used story and characters and stuff. And there's that element of a film, and there's people that love the thing. And I feel like they're constantly, whenever these prequels came out or the new ones came out, it's a weird battle. And I guess we're going to jump straight into the discourse next week.
We sure are. So I'm going to say This is for fans of George Lucas's other movie he made that wasn't very good, Red Tails.
I'm gonna say this is for fans of American Graffiti. It's the American Graffiti 2 that we never got. That's the fans of them.
Oscar, did you watch this on Disney Plus?
I did. I mean, go on. What's your notes?
It throws me anytime Disney Plus is like, this contains tobacco depictions,
which is weird because it's like a throwaway joke. It's weird they have showing that because, like, I'll be honest, I watched the Santa Claus over Christmas, and I was like, really? And everyone's smoking a fat cigar in that film, even the kids. But it's like a throwaway joke. It's like,
yeah,
Ewan McGregor's
wild.
like, don't smoke that Kansas stick, kid. He's like, I'm not gonna.
It's also because it's like, it turns out tobacco's in everything, because this warning comes up on pretty much everything I've watched on Disney Plus. They're like, oh, do you like Zootopia? Tobacco. Do you like...
Judy Hopps smokes a fat carrot. A fatty.
Oh, she does. She rolls the biggest carrot.
And she just puffs that bad boy down and solves a mystery.
She snorts the most intense radish powder. Just...
chops it up with a credit card, a carrot credit card, ooh, and then just snorts that shit and solves a mystery. Carl, I wasn't joking about the Lego Star Wars thing. I'm going to compare the scenes to the Lego Star Wars and give you just my thoughts on the Lego Star Wars level that precedes it. Also, while watching this, I realized that the first level pretty much covers the first hour, so it's a bad first hour. Let's just put it that way.
Oh yeah, apart from what is a really fantastic section of the film in which somebody goes, I guess I was wrong, there's no danger to be worried about, and then a plane explodes and everyone dies. I mean, imagine having such good comedic timing just in real life. Like,
God, we're jealous. I wish that could happen to us.
Just what was like the Hindenburg, or what was the big thing?
The Hindenburg.
Yeah. Imagine if somebody was like, "Oh God, looks like we're going to be A-OK from now on," and then just
lights a big cigarette. Contains tobacco.
Yeah, just like. But anyway, look, the plane explodes. What do you know? Padme wasn't the one that died. Padme was over somewhere else. She has.
It's a weird way to start a film, because I kind of thought it's just kind of, well, so that's the assassination attempt, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Good for it.
The plane.
Yeah, I
Good
guess.
for
Like,
it.
I mean, they got some people. Visually, these films have not aged well. This explosion doesn't. It looks very computery, like
fair enough.
Video gamey.
I mean, the problem is, I don't think we know enough about Star Wars, because I'm just going to quote things I think I've heard. So, yeah, you come to the right podcast for facts. I feel like people are defending it. Like, so George Lucas was like, hey, listen, he wanted to do all graphics things. I just think he made a bit of a boo-boo, because, you know, maybe then it looks cool, but yeah, it's aging rapidly.
It's like they've clearly stretched the technology too thin. Like, I think it's interesting that the new trilogy will probably age better, even though it uses a lot of CGI, has a ton of practical effects work on all the creatures and all of the environments they're in. And it's a big issue with this movie, is like, there's so many CGI environments, and then they're just like, oh, and we're in Italy. And then they're just like, and you're like, well, that's clearly real, and it makes everything else look so much more fake. Like,
there's a scene where they're like, just like, I believe just in Venice, and they've got this like a spaceship in the water. And it just looks like
the
a souped-up canoe.
It's like, at least design the futuristic boat so it's like kind of suits that environment, but it's literally just like what if it was a block? A shiny block, and we got out of it into the Italian Riviera.
All right.
It's bizarre.
It's so bizarre. All right. A boy, Anakin's all grown up. It's been 10 years. I don't remember this fact. Was he like 6 in the first one? Is he 16 in these films?
You see, I thought he might have been 18 and was 8 in the first one. I find it an odd choice that he ages dramatically, but she does not.
No, she's an alien, so there you go. That's tick. That's all off. It is a weird choice.
It's a wild character decision to have him have that, like, ear rat's tail the entire film. What's that about?
I think it's just because they knew the hairstyle for the third, and they're like, how do we change it? Chop off the rat's tail. It's symbolic. It's hideous. But
Why is it from the ear? Why is it from the ear?
Does anyone else have like a hairstyle like that? I guess they all have pretty wacky hairstyles, but that's an atrocious hairstyle.
No, but you're like, oh, okay, the Jedis must do that, and then the rest of the films are like, we do not. He has chosen to do that. That is a stylistic choice on him.
We get a nice barber. He's very. I mean, in fairness, I think only Ewan's the one with hair. Most of them just have a bald or freaky little aliens or Yoda.
I would love to walk in and Ewan McGregor's doing his own haircut with the lightsaber floating around him, just trying not to singe it, getting a little bit of a beard.
It's like a hair straightener. It's hot, but it's a lightsaber. Little scissors. That could be fun. This is pretty much kicks it off.
Yep.
So anyway, Ewan McGregor and Anakin and Obi Wan are sent to like look after Padme. Padme's turned off the cameras. We get introduced to Anakin. He's like, oh, that bitch turned off the cameras. Kind of perv anymore. Which is a weird creative decision for a new protagonist, essentially.
Also, really, really quickly, because he's not in the film again, Jar Jar returns for a very short, brief amount of time. For an appropriate amount of time, some may say.
I'm going to put this right here, right now. Go back into from playing the Lego Star Wars games, thought Jar Jar Binks was a great character. He can triple jump, so they get you to many stages. So I'm a big fan of Jar Jar Binks. He's a great character. Until you unlock General Grievous, Carl, you're in a pickle if you want to get those mini clips. Anyway, but yeah, no, I love it. Jar Jar Binks, I love it. Padme's like, hey, I'm going to give you this massive power. And Jar Jar Binks like, with great responsibility come power. And you're like, you're the man for the job for political unrest.
It's so funny. She's like, take it seriously. And he's like, me so?
Me accepted. Boo. Ah. Oh, you can had a political
Isn't it crazy?
decision.
It was wild. Wild watching him for a split second in this movie and going, God, he was in the first one so much.
Oh,
like all of the film.
It's such a funny creative decision because, of course, there was so much backlash for him. And I like that they're like, how do we rope this character back in? So he's in the background. And I know he'll be a politician. I don't know where that came from.
They looked at all the characters and they're like, yes, the silliest one that can barely speak. He shall be for the people. Like, it's one of those, I don't know if this is true. It could have been completely made up and it's just a thing I read. But I'm pretty sure, wasn't Jar Jar Binks meant to be in all three? And he would have like the tragic death in the third one? And that rallies everyone together. Like
I always got like YouTube clips of just like, so get this, Jar Jar's the big villain. And I don't know if that's true. It was always popping up when like the new trilogy was coming out, but I just think he was a
Ray's parents as Jar Jar Binks, and everyone was like, yes, that must be it.
That's it. Lock it in. I like that as a theory. Anyway, we've got our boys. They're just chilling with Padme. Anakin can't get his rocks off of his new girl. No. What happens though? A little when she's sleeping, something creeps into her bed.
It does. A little robot decides to come in through the window and it poops out some slugs really intensely. Just like you can tell the robot lost a bit of weight pooping them out.
Just kind of splurts all over the curtains. It's a bit fucking gross, honestly.
There is, you haven't seen it, but there is a very similar assassination attempt sequence in the new Dune. And it's just so much better than this stretch of 3 minutes. Like, just, you're like, wow. Like, to do something so similar and just be like, it's so much better. Like, it looks better. There's tension. It's weird that it's slugs.
There's tension.
Why is it
those slugs might make a mess. I feel like comedically we're fucked because They do make a
They,
mess. That's the
they
plot.
release the two Siamese cats from Lady and the Tramp, and they just make a mess and blame it on Padme, so Padme gets kicked out. Like, Padme
Just like
did it.
that's the Dark Lord. You made a fucking mess of this hotel. That's it. You're off the fucking Senate, bitch. Get out of here. No messy, stinky hotel rooms. You're fucking done. This is a weird thing. Anyway, so Ewan McGregor's like, all right, fuck, better jump out the window to get that robot.
I do love when they sense the slugs. They're just having a normal conversation, just like, do you like coffee? Yeah, I usually have like a sugar. And then they both stop, and Anakin looks up, and Ewan McGregor's like, I feel it too. And they just run.
They pretty much immediately grab a gun, just like, let's get that fucking country
It looks like Anakin's gonna slash her in half. I don't know how he gets those bugs. He's like slightly cut both of them. I'm like, that looks like a murder. It looks like a murder.
That was a close fucking call. Ewan McGregor jumps out the window and grabs the robot. The plot begins.
Oh, it does. And you're like, wow, this whole film is going to be a race against time. No, it's just going to be time. This car chase sequence is just like, what? If this is like, I know that this is supposed to be set in the past, like way long ago in a galaxy somewhere else, but it's like, if this is our future, that's too many fucking cars. This is like a nightmare to get through. I hate it. I hate the idea of living here.
Well, it's funny because it looks like the Blade Runner city. I mean, it's just like an alien city, but it's made in like a PlayStation 2. So it's like very gross looking.
Yeah. It's just like, and the car chase is just like weird in terms of there's a part where, because they're chasing this girl in a car and she goes past and she's like, electric wall. And you're like, oh, that'll stop them, but they just drive through it, and they're like that
stuff. One of the aliens, Ewan McGregor jumps in a car. One of the aliens goes, Jedi poo poo. Now, Carl, how many producers do you think that went through to get to the screen? I think George Lucas wrote it down, cackled a bit, and then because again, cackled a bit. That is funny. Jedi poo poo, a bit of fun. I love it. It's good world building.
I think maybe like 3 produced. Do you have the answer? Is that why you're asking me?
I'm very quick. How would I have the answer? How on the internet would that be a resource?
I thought you were setting up a bit. I thought you were like, I went on IMDb and I just counted all the producers, and I was going to be like, oh, is it 3? And you were going to be like 39, and it's like, oh wow, it's a lot of producers.
That was exactly the bit, so we can just skip past that.
Was it? How many producers was it?
39. You nailed it on the head.
Fuck, I knew it. I was going to do the same bit. That's how I know.
We both looked up. We both made up that random fact.
We both spent like 3 minutes counting every producer, being like, oh, do I count an EP? Do I count a co? Should it just be straight producers? Who should I have? It was
it's funny. We spent more time on that joke than they spent on that joke. So good for us.
But here's the thing. I did get a laugh from...
Yeah, you got a laugh from me.
Here's the thing. I cackled a bit, which is exactly what he wanted.
So pretty much they get the girl.
Here's another thing that
Zam
rocked
Weasel.
me from the sequence. Sorry, but there's a part where like Anakin's so sure what he's taken is a shortcut, and it's just not. It's so far somewhere else, and then he makes it a shortcut by jumping out of the car. Yeah, they constantly jump out of shit hoping to catch something in this film, and Ewan McGregor goes, "I hate when he does it." And you're just this
is a regular occurrence.
How often do you have to have a car chase in this city where he just jumps out for a free fall?
They're Jedis. That's just the hijinks they get up to. I'll be honest, being a Jedi is kind of like just being a cop. Like, sure, we get to see the cool cop stuff where they, catch the villain, but most of it's just, traffic control. So really, he's just jumping out of cars to give tickets.
Can you not use the Force to hang on to something?
I don't know. I feel like you can jump. We know that you can force jump. You can grab stuff and like swing like a piece of string. That might pop up later. I don't know. I assume the Force is kind of giving him like a bit of like control in the air.
Right. Okay. Because he's free falling. So when he's caught by that car, he really should just splatter.
He should be dead. But he's a
Yeah.
goddamn Jedi, baby.
He is a goddamn Jedi. That's exactly what he is.
Anyway, this is the first level of Lego Star Wars. It's not a great level. You see, Lego Star Wars has sort of a separate thing. This is a vehicle-based one. You're just in the little car and you're kind of getting stuff. It's pretty bland, pretty basic. Not a big fan of this one. But, you know, considering the source material, best they could have done. It was that or you play as a slug. So they kind of nailed that one.
Look, okay, so then what happens after this scene? Like there's some waffling about.
You're Anakin immediately, again, it's the first time we've seen Anakin, he just grabs the girl, like, who are you? Who sent you? Anyway, Zam Wesell, that's the name of the person that gets assassinated.
Ooh.
Yeah, someone looked up IMDb.
Hey.
Tells them, is like, it was, and it gets dark. I remember being pretty scared of this as a kid. This is a scary looking thing. I think it's CGI, the transformation, but it scared me as a kid.
You think it's CGI?
I think the transformation is, and I think the end result is like a model, I think.
Oh, yeah. Because I was like, I don't think the transformation held up. That looked like Doctor Who. Like,
oh yeah, that's pretty.
It was like, and and you're like, why are you making that noise? Are you releasing gas? Like,
that's the noise you make when you release gas. Everyone knows that.
It's true. I actually only made that noise twice just now.
Now, this film is for kids. So before we get onto the plot, they have a meeting about what to do, which I like. That's real. I like George Lucas' commitment to realism.
It's funny because it's pretty much Succession in Star Wars.
They're pretty much just trying to... essentially, Palpatine gets power by just like a hostile takeover. Which, you know, maybe this film is good now.
It's also one of those things where it's like, I can't remember if the Palpatine becoming the Sith, was that meant to be a twist in this trilogy? Or did everybody know? Like,
no, I think it's maybe a twist. They pull it off as a twist. At the end, you see like him talking to Count Dooku, and then it cuts to him chilling with the other Jedi.
But he acts
maybe a twist.
Villainous and like the Sith the entire time. He's just like, he's always like this.
That's just old men. They all do that.
You know how like when otters swim, they do that little thing with their hands.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
just doing that the entire time.
That's just old men. Their palms get very dry. They need to grease it up. Everyone knows that, Carl.
His palms were sweaty and his knees were weak.
I believe he had his mum's spaghetti. This is the 2000s. Star Wars and M&M. We're bringing it all back, baby.
Oh, I thought it was Macklemore.
So they have a meeting. Palpatine's like, hey, Anakin, just a quick aside. You're really fucking strong. You could probably beat the shit out of Yoda. Scene ends with them recruited to Obi Wan Kenobi, Yoda, and Mace Windu, Samuel L. Jackson, and they're all like, I'm pretty sure Anakin could beat the shit out of you, Yoda. And Yoda's like, what the fuck, guys? Scene ends.
There's like a scene where Yoda's just fucking embarrassing Obi-Wan, and is like, God, how embarrassing for you that Anakin's like better than you. Wow. And you're just like, what is happening? Like,
and Yoda's like, how did he turn to the dark side? We were so it's just internal bullying. There's a lot of corporate bullying in this world.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things where it's like, had he just gone to HR, this never would have happened. Or maybe it would have happened sooner. I don't know. Is HR the hero or the villain? Who's to say?
George Lucas had many opinions on HR, but it didn't get made in the film. That was the one creative decision that they restricted him from. And quite frankly, it weakens the whole film overall.
You know what he should have done? He should have taken that creative decision to HR.
Well, that's the thing. HR was furious because they positioned them as the villains. So they were happy until they saw the twist.
Yeah, the twist was that it was HR all along. It wasn't Palpatine, but it was just HR.
It was just HR. Okay, I'm a bit confused. So Padme, Anakin, and R2-D2 go vibe on a ship to find the mum, or is there another like?
No, they go hide to keep her safe, and then while they're hiding, Anakin's like, "I had a dream. I'm going to go see my mum."
Gotcha. Silly. That makes sense.
Why doesn't he go and see his mum just any other time? Like he could have seen her before. He's had 10 years to go see her.
Here's the thing. If you jump out of a fucking vehicle for 10 years, you're going to be in hospital quite a lot. His time was filled. He didn't have much time to go to Tatooine, let me tell you.
These scenes where they're quote-unquote in love are pretty appalling. I'm going to put it out there.
Yeah, no, I think everyone can agree with that. I thought, I can't believe I'm saying this, but like, I feel as though it should have just been them not getting along, and then by the end they kind of like, they're like kind of just back and forth quippy, and then they kind of fall. I would have believed that more, but they're straight to the point. Essentially, it's like the first film we see a 10-year-old, now we see him, he's just like, God, I want to just marry you. And Padme's like, maybe this could work. Maybe,
Wow,
other than...
It's like the writer that came up with the line, Jedi poo-poo can't be quippy or write interesting characters. Like, them bonding is just like, they roll in the grass.
It's a...
Who
very upsetting.
Who the fuck rolls in grass?
Carl, I guess you've never been in love. I guess that's on you, because I can tell you now, the amount of rolled... My back is fucking itchy when I'm in love, let me tell you.
Turn around, let me see those grass stains. Go on,
right.
Have you ruined another shirt?
Yeah,
He's
I have,
ruined it.
okay? Thank God we're sponsored by Dymo. No, I wish we were sponsored by Dymo. They keep rejecting my emails. So then we get a great scene because Obi Wan goes to Dexter's Diner, which is the actual hub world of the Lego Star Wars game in the first one. Great setting, great reference to the Lego game. Dexter, why is it a 50s diner? Did they have the 50s in the Star Wars?
Star Wars famously had the 50s.
Like, what was
they
there?
They have their own grease, and Yoda's a big fan.
Yoda in his broken little language singing Grease Lightning.
Olivia Newton-John I does.
Rizzo, my fave, she is. God, I promise I wouldn't do any impressions, but
School beauty dropout. A song it is to sing karaoke.
Imagine if Yoda just in one scene rocks up in a Grease shirt.
They don't explain it. It simply just says Grease is the world on it.
No, it's world Grease is. Again, George Lucas was strangled with that creative decision. He was a big fan of Grease. He did do American Graffiti. Kind of the Grease with no music, if you will.
Isn't it crazy it went through 39 producers for them to knock back his Grease idea?
38 were on board, but that one last fucking co-producer was like, ridiculous.
He's a Grease 2 fan.
Yeah, so they track down the dart. Dexter's like, listen, I think it's over there 12 parsecs, but chat to a librarian. This is riveting content. Obi-Wan goes to the library.
It's so... Because then he goes to the library, and like the librarian could just be like, oh, the files are deleted, and only a Jedi has access to that. So then the mystery's there. But what happens is he goes to the library, the librarian's shitty at him, and is like, why'd you waste my fucking day for these missing files? And he's like, wow, I better go see Yoda. And then Yoda's like, oh yeah, a Jedi must have like deleted them. And it's like, these is 4 scenes, maybe like 12 minutes of screen time, can be a sentence. It can be a single sentence.
Listen, I'll say right now, that librarian is fair to be pissed off. If you're working at a library and the only person that can help you delete and reinstate a file is Yoda, I'm furious all the time. Could you imagine Yoda doing admin? No.
How are these labeled?
They're not even alphabetical. All the thes are the second word.
He does this with numbers as well. He's like, oh no, that's... You know.
My favorite musical's Les Miserables. 502 505.
I love it. I'd love it if the librarian was like, they're either deleted, which a Jedi only has access to, or they were filed by Yoda and thus are missing forever.
I would have preferred the extended cut is just Ewan McGregor just sorting files and just getting progressively angry at Yoda for his atrocious sorting of files.
Good on him. Good on you, Yoda. Bless your little heart. Look,
Yeah, so Yoda's teaching younglings, tells them it's probably fucking over there. Go check it out.
Isn't it wild? There's been such a little action for ages.
Again, 40 minutes is gone. The Lego games have nailed it because nothing interesting has happened. I feel bad for them. They didn't have much to develop.
Because here's the thing. It's not like the movie needs action for it to be entertaining, but it does need momentum and an understandable like plot and like just something to keep you going, a mystery that is intriguing or interesting. And it doesn't have that. So the only thing you can latch onto is action, and it's not even giving us that either.
All we've got is exploding spaceship so far, right? That's the first like shot essentially.
Yeah, we've had an exploding spaceship, and we've had Ewan McGregor hanging onto a robot for a few minutes.
That was a bit of fun.
It was a bit of
Jedi
fun.
poo poo. That actually has kept me going for the last 20 minutes.
Him hanging onto a robot was a hint at the fact that he voices a robot in the movie Robots.
Wow, that's really clever. I'm glad George Lucas took that on. Was he recording the third Star Wars and Robots at the same time?
Yeah, he was. And this is funny, actually, because he famously got the scripts confused. And that's why his performance is so weird in Star Wars Episode 3.
And yet
his
so
performance
compelling.
is so dark in Robots.
Rodney Copperbottom is, quite frankly, the anti-hero that no one thought we needed and no one really wanted, yet we have it.
When Rodney Copperbottom at the end of Robots tells that other robot that he was meant to be the chosen one and that he was his brother, tears.
When he knocks over Cobwell's dominoes, chills.
I know, and that's why it's really weird at the end of Episode 3 when he stands up to Cobwell. And you're just like, wait, who's this character now? What's going on?
Darth Vader's put on some weight. Okay, so this is, I think it's not clever, but essentially Ewan McGregor goes to a water planet, which is making clones, and while this is happening, Anakin and Padme this is essentially the film's like, it's like a 30-minute scene, both of them intercut, and it's just them bonding, very uncomfortable, and Ewan McGregor figuring out who the bounty hunter is and what the clones are.
I don't care. I also hate the alien designs during these sequences.
The aliens look like cotton swabs, I've written.
Yeah, they do, don't they? And they have weird cloth on them.
They do. But however, Carl, it is actually a great level in LEGO Star Wars. You see, as a kid, I didn't appreciate it. But as I've grown older, the nuances have really shown it. Also, there's red R2-D2. R4, which is fun. I remember as a kid liking that.
R4 is pretty cool. R4's a big win. Big win for all involved.
It's just to sell toys, but fuck, it worked. That's sick.
Look, I love that when Padme and Anakin are supposed to be bonding, he's like, you know what I kind of love is a dictatorship. And she's like, I don't see a red flag here. I'm going to move ahead.
It's 30 minutes of red flags, because then he does the I don't like sand scene. I'll be honest, the memes have made that tolerable, but actually it's not very fun. The scene kind of goes and it's gone.
There's a reason they hark on about that scene is it's so bluntly said and without emotion, but also weird dialogue for that scene.
It is.
Because then after he says it's coarse, it's rough, and it gets everywhere, there's a long beat, and then they make out.
It is that, right? It feels so straight. I kind of thought they went on about Tatooine or something. No, just generally is what I'm into.
He's pretty much like, I've said my sand confession. Guess I better get those little lips going.
Pucker up, Padme.
Yeah.
They also have...
He's like, you know what else is coarse and rough? My chapped lips.
And we're going, chapstick will only apply through lips. They have a really weird dinner where they eat a single pear. I'd be furious if I was so.
Oh my god, that pear was fucked up, and I hated the fact that he selfishly was like, my pear, and I'm gonna cut you a piece, and cuts off the worst bottom piece and levitates it back to her.
A bruised sliver bit, and she's like, maybe I'm in love. Get out of there. biggest redeeming thing of the film so far? The plates are cool. They're on little
Oh,
stands in the glass.
the plates are cute. They are cute. I want them in my home. I'll eat pear off of them. I like that even Anakin's just like, oh god, if Obi-Wan saw me doing this, he'd flip out. And I'm like, yeah, because you're bullying her. You've stolen her fruit and you've given her the shittest piece.
You're using wizard powers to fuck off this shit dinner. Imagine getting served a bad dinner. At least you can, like, as a couple, relate, like, oh, this is a bad dinner. We'll remember this. Imagine monopolizing the dinner and going, well, I'm going to take my bit. What a cruel man. He's a villain.
When he is, they foreshadowed it far too much. It's one of those weird films because it's like this is meant to be like a tragedy to a certain extent because it's like how he becomes corrupted and all that. But it's like we don't even like him as a character, so I don't understand how the downfall's meant to matter to us.
No, it's crazy that like in the short amount of time, I don't think there's really been anything that you're like, oh, I can latch onto this character. And again, that's definitely not Hayden Christian Church's fault. He got given some real awful Hayden Christensen. He got some awful dialogue and also has to like do love scenes. Like everyone else is just kind of an action film. He's doing like and it's bad.
Like I think what's tough is like he's a young actor and he is good in Shattered Glass. I've seen him be good in stuff, but it's like a huge production for him to be on. Very little of what's around him is real for him to act off of. And he's definitely not used to that because this is one of the first films to utilize so much CGI. And then he's got very stilted dialogue. And then I think people need to remember that George Lucas had only really directed a few films. And it's like he didn't even do he only did the first Star Wars, and he produced the other two and did the story and everything. But it's all him directing this, and I don't think he's like done enough with actors in this certain environment because he's also working out how the CGI works in the scene. That I'm sure 100%. The actors are coming second to him. 100%. So it's just, I don't think it's anyone's fault other than like it's a huge production and they're moving fast and there's a lot of confusing.
Not only that, but it's also like one of the biggest films ever, and you're doing a sequel. The pressure there, like that's way too much. I think everyone on board is like, we need to fucking nail this. And the first one not doing that great, I think shook a lot of people.
Oh, for sure. I think because like that first one made like $900 million or something like that back in the 2000s when it came out, and then this made it in the 600s. So it had like a $300 million drop off, which is pretty big. It's a very big drop off sequel to sequel.
Okay, well let's talk about this water planet. Let's just tick off the things. Ewan McGregor finds out that the clones are being made. Some guy ordered them, the Republic Council, and they're a clone of Jango Fett, who is the father of Boba Fett, named after the tea.
I forget Jango Fett is a thing, so I was really confused. Because in The Mandalorian, I think this actor of Jango Fett plays Boba Fett.
Yeah, because he's a clone.
Oh, the kid's a clone as well.
Yeah, they established that. They're like, the aliens are like, so we pretty much made a clone of everyone, we give them rapid growing, but Jango Fett's one condition was he wants one clone that is not enhanced and will grow old like him.
Right. Okay. I missed that.
You missed that?
Yeah.
Were you not paying attention to the movie? They were giving dialogue. I was all ears. I wrote a note down.
Another scene of walking and talking in this film? Really? Shocking.
We get some action. They shoot at the place. They do a bit of an escape.
Sure. Yeah.
Thoughts?
It's like I don't like it. I remember thinking I think like the action's pretty good in the next one. I remember thinking so. George Lucas really upped his game in the next one directing wise for the action. I don't think there's a sequence in this movie that's as good as the pod racing sequence in Phantom Menace.
Fair enough.
Like, I don't think.
And also, it's kind of like the first part of like the Harry Potter. Apparently, I'm not going to watch the Clone Wars, but apparently the Clone Wars is good. But this is like a weird one where it's just setting up the third one.
Yeah. People hark on about the Clone Wars.
They do. They really do, don't they? which is annoying because we can't really critique this film because any issue we have, like, why are they doing this? Someone will be like, well, watch the Clone Wars. I'm not going to watch the Clone Wars.
It's like, well, I'm not going to watch that series that came out a decade after this film and justified a lot of its weird fucking story choices. Like, if I had a decade to think about all the stupid shit I had written, then yeah, I'm sure I'd come up with some great excuses as to why they were the way that they were.
Note to self, Carl, make sure you go back in 10 years' time and just retcon all this podcast stuff. Make it seem good. Make the choices we make and our sayings valid.
I'm going to edit every episode we have down. I'm just going to pull like a second from each and then build its own podcast out of those seconds.
That's powerful. That could be really good. I think it could work.
Yeah, I think you could too.
This is great. I completely forgot about this scene entirely. Anakin is like, all right, I know we got a mission and you keep me safe, but I'm going back to my home planet. I'm gonna find my mum. I forgot this plot point even existed. And I was a bit confused why. I remember why. They wrap it up in about 20 minutes. Essentially, Anakin goes to Aunt Marie and Aunt and Uncle Owen. Who's
Joel Edgerton.
What the hell? I did not know that. What's he doing here?
Yeah, it's Australia. It's filmed in Australia, so it's fun.
They're just like anybody. Where's Hugo Weaving? Is he around the Matrix? Fuck.
I love this sequence because the guy's just flat out like, your mom dead. Like
it's his wife. Why is he not more just like, well, we gave up days ago. Just give up, okay?
He's basically like, and I would have tried harder, but my leg, it aches, you know? It's like,
we cut it off because it ached and now it doesn't ache anymore. I'm glad we get the lore of what Luke lived in. Because it doesn't look too bad. I think Luke was really complaining about that place. That's a nice home.
It had two suns or 2 moons or something. That's fun.
There's blue milk. It's weird
People want that.
The blue milk's a canon thing. That's in the Last Jedi, right? Luke loved
No,
milk.
green milk is in the Last Jedi.
Okay.
And it's from the tit of a creature.
That's a good scene.
Yeah. It's a great scene. That's what this movie lacks. A frothy mustache of milk from it being freshly drunk from the teat of a creature.
He's so tepid. Essentially he's like, all right, I'm gonna go look for my mum.
Here's what's funny is they're just like, there's no way you can find her, and he finds her so quickly, so easily.
He asks he asks like one droid is like, have you seen them? Like, yeah, over there, those sand guys have them. I think this is pretty
here's the
funny.
thing. If this was anything else, Anakin would have stumbled into like a fucking murder mystery podcast where it's clearly the guy's killed his wife and framed it on these creatures in the desert.
I still think he has. No, because essentially Anakin rocks up to the sand people, who finds his mum, who's just like tied to a thing. I'm sure she's been tortured and whatever. But he's like, hey mum. She's like, Anakin. Oh my god, I'm dead, and dies.
Oh my god, her death is hilarious. She like opens her eyes and she's like, Sunsy? Oh.
Leans back. I'm pretty sure the husband is like been puppeting her, but only can afford like 5 seconds of animatronics. And he's got away with it.
I'm convinced that this actress demanded millions. And they were like, no, you can have a second. She was like, I'm the star of the first film.
Don't you know I'm Shimi Skywalker? Shimi fucking Skywalker. The film rests on my back. I birth Darth fucking Vader, you cunts.
Children play with Shimi Skywalker toys their whole life. I want millions if I'm in the next film.
The toy rights alone, billions. Dare I say trillions you've wasted. Alright, Anakin kills the sand people, goes back to Padme's like, ugh, I feel bad. And she's like, you know what? I don't mind you. But don't worry, Carl, we're going to the droid factory. They all just sort of meet up in the droid factory, which is a great thing because it's the best Lego Star Wars level in the entire game. It is a lot of fun. The fly creatures, much more attractive. I think the big treadmills are a really fun element because C-3PO is too slow, so you can't actually go on them. It's a really great level. It's my favorite one of the series.
Did you remember these like from memory, or did you look up YouTube to rejig a little bit?
I remember, genuinely, this one I do remember really liking a lot. The droid is a lot of fun in them. The only one I did forget was the first level, because it is very forgettable. It's just them driving around
Right.
that city. Not very good.
There
This is a
there
great
you have
novel,
it.
though. There you have it.
Yeah. It's like a more fun part of the film, but I do love that C-3PO is just no help whatsoever.
Oh, he's a fucking hindrance. The Twinks shows up and he's just like, guess what? I'm gonna get into hijinks, and R2-D2 is gonna have to solve it. What happens? All right, let's see. Anakin and Padme get caught in this treadmill. C-3PO's running amok, and R2-D2. I'm gonna be honest. This fucking key thing he does.
Oh
It shouldn't be that much. Stop putting the Sith would be solved. They stopped putting these little keys everywhere that solved everything.
Why are the Sith relying on keyholes? Is there nothing better in the future?
I don't think so.
What a bizarre thing that they're just like, the huge technology's advanced, so that they can just be like, we'll do keyholes.
Anyway, they're at this droid factory. I don't really get it, because is this attached to the big arena where the fight scene is?
Yeah, it's a weird cut, because once they're caught, they're like, yes, you're gonna have a big arena fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Anyway,
Why don't they just kill you?
I don't know. The accidental droid thing almost did it for them. They're actually in more danger by this thing than the actual fighting thing.
How good is he meant to be at the Force by now?
Who, Anakin?
Yeah.
Good. He's good at it, but he's like better than most.
Because you know how like the big stamps are gonna come down at him.
Yeah.
Can't he just like force them away?
I don't think so, because Yoda struggled with the big piping. I don't think I don't know what like it seems like they can't really hold heavy. It seems like heavy objects are quite tough for a Jedi.
I know, like it seems like it's not a great power to have. like it's like
What
it's
do you
an
mean?
okay.
You can move objects. You can probably move yourself. Sense worms, and they give you a lightsaber because it's pretty shit.
Have you ever wanted that woman's pair? The Force can help you with that.
Oh, that's very true. Is your girlfriend snatching your food? Just fucking take it from her.
Yeah, it seems like more of just like a violent mechanism, doesn't it? Like, if Yoda can't do shit with a pipe, what's the point?
What's the point of this world, really? I'm glad we've established that. No one should. This shouldn't exist. Get rid of it, honestly. Okay, so Obi Wan Kenobi is being captured here by Count Dooku. Count Dooku has assembled, I'd say, the worst aliens in the world to a shitty meeting. He's like, all right, cyber guy. He's like, does a little cyber noise. There's an alien that pops up for a second that just has a long face. I think it's great.
Who's meant to be the villain of this film? Is it meant to be Count Dooku?
It's Count Dooku. Yeah, Count Dooku's the big villain. But
it's like his death is in the next movie. It's like the plot of him doesn't really get concluded.
No, it gets established. I don't really think it gets established, really, because I feel like we're meant to know who this man is.
Yeah, right. But it's also like he isn't revealed to properly be the villain until halfway through the movie. Like, so by then it's like, in comparison to like Darth Maul's more of an interesting design than he is a fully fleshed out villain, but at least he's consistently through the film and actively doing something.
Oh yeah, and he got 2 lightsabers. Tight. Count Dooku's old little man.
Awesome. Love it. You got the Duel of Fates or whatever. Incredible. Great lights. That's what this lacks, is a great one-on-one lightsaber fight, right?
Oh yeah, the Count Dooku one's pretty lame at the end, isn't it?
Yeah, don't you reckon? It's like,
that's like, I feel like that was like the critique of like, I don't know. I feel like people were like wanted more. Like, I feel like that's what this because essentially our villains are captured. Not villains. Our heroes are captured, thrown to like a fighting pit, and then they're like, "Fuck, we've used a lightsaber once this week. All right, fucking get every fucking Jedi you can, throw them at that fighting pit, and let's just get this lightsaber quota up."
Yeah,
do we like the fighting scene?
I think it's like too little, too late, and from like a directing standpoint, I think it's really chaotic, like choreography and everything, really chaotic to follow and focus.
Because a bad Lego Star Wars game, all you do is fight, and it's great because you get to fight a lot of people. But it's just not. It's a little too late as well.
What did you think of this climax? Like, were you if you're like a Star Wars fan, is this like a fulfilling end for you?
It's
Like,
weird. I think we discussed it before we did it. This is kind of Boba Fett's story, which is weird because Mace Windu kills Django, and Boba's
Yep.
like, I'm gonna fucking avenge him.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird. That's like that. Like this character that's in like the fifth one, like for a bit, barely, and then dies pretty funnily. It's such like a
hilariously.
But people are like, that
Yeah.
man's badass. I don't really get why it's so strong in this one.
Yeah, I don't understand how like a whole generation of people that were Star Wars fans latched onto essentially what is a character design in a movie.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's not like he does much. It doesn't even remove the mask. Like,
No. Well, okay, so now we're again. I'm sure we have to watch the Clone Wars, but I'm not going to. I don't really get it because essentially the film's gone, oh, this is a big problem. We have 200,000 people that are on our side. Wait a minute. No, that's fine. We're just going to fucking destroy the Sith. And they do. That's pretty much the plot, right? Because then Count Dooku's like, how the fuck did they get this many people? They just blow up the entire lair.
like, sure, whatever. It feels like a very middle chapter in terms of I don't think it really moves anything, rather than just reestablishes the characters from the first one at a different age.
Do you think they regret starting with a kid? I guess they wouldn't. They must have planned it out. But do you think they regret? Because it just feels like Anakin kind of gets established, but he's like a new character, and he's not really given. I guess him and this is them going, all right, we're not going to have them really in love in the third one because we haven't got time. So show them in love for this one. It's just setting up a lot of the third. I think that's why a lot of people like the third, because it just gives off all the payoff of this one.
The third one has essentially 2 movies crammed into it. So that movie's like go, go, go. And then the ending's really fun because it joins, it has all of like what it was all building for there. But it's one of those things where you could look. It's just like, it's bizarre to me. It's like, I just feel like you want to see a Jedi get corrupted properly over the course of 3 films in a really interesting way. And essentially all they do is corrupt him in the final hour of a third film.
Yeah, because this second one, don't get me wrong, all he's done is kill the Sand People, which I don't really care, because I'm pretty sure in the first one they're shown to be dickheads. Also, Anakin kills a bunch of these flies, and no one bats an eye. I don't know why
he murdered those worms.
Yeah, he fucked those worms, didn't he?
Because here's the thing: we don't know if the worms were gonna kill her.
Yeah,
they're worms.
I mean, they did make a fucking mess, so if you're going off that alone, slime everywhere. Again, 5th Lego Star Wars is pretty much you just trying to stop Count Dooku. It's another side vehicle one. It's not that great, but it kind of pays off. It's crazy that the 4 levels of Lego Star Wars are the last hour of this film, because that first hour has nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep, nothing.
So, we get to Count Dooku. This is a pretty lame battle, I think.
I think it is. I think it's, I don't know, I would not be shocked if this was a reshoot thing.
It
right?
feels a bit
like it's like, oh, we've kind of gotten to the end of filming. I think it needs a more close-up lightsaber battle.
Because he would have just gone away, wouldn't he? Of course. And then you would have just jumped into the third film. Real quickly, when Padme falls out the thing when they're chasing Count Dooku, what's the point of this? Because Anakin's like, I want to go back to save her. Ewan's like, no, we're going to do the mission. Like, what does this show? What does this prove? That he's in love?
I think maybe... maybe that's meant to be it. Like, I don't know. It feels like potentially they're trying to pad out the runtime.
Oh, the runtime's padded already. It's padded. Ewan went to 4 people to figure out a place. Anyway, so let's talk about this battle.
Yep.
Anakin's like, I'm going to fucking kill him. Runs at him. Lightnings him. He's out of the fight. Ewan then has to
immediately.
Fight.
Gone. Just gone.
Ewan gets... Count Dooku's like, you're pretty fucking weak, bro. And Ewan's like, I could do some stuff. Lightsaber to the hand. Then Anakin's like, I'm back in the game. Immediately Count Dooku cuts off his arm. Then our boy, the little green fuck, rocks up. And is just like, let's throw rocks at each other for what felt like 5 minutes.
Do we think the factory scene is to tease the idea that that's where he's going to lose his arm?
Oh, do we not know where he loses his arm?
I don't think so. Like, if you're watching that for the first time as a Star Wars fan,
I just
you're like-
assumed he lost all his limbs in the third end one, right? When he gets burnt up.
I guess so.
I don't think we
know.
knew he lost an arm. I don't think we know Darth Vader's lost an arm, right? Do you know
Is
that?
there not? Well, you know how what's his face loses an arm.
Luke.
Luke loses an arm. Is there not a line in the film after he loses that arm that's like, your dad lost an arm?
Oh, maybe actually, yeah. But I assumed it was when he got. But maybe. I guess
Here's the thing. If you're still a Star Wars fan and you're listening to us, don't bother correcting us. Like, we know we're wrong a majority of the time.
We're very wrong, but go ahead and comment. We will read them.
It's true, we will. I'll pretend I didn't, but I will read them.
Yeah, and you can mock our appearances. Just kidding. That's why we hide behind an audio wave.
It is fun. Look at it go up and down.
Why doesn't Yoda? I don't know. I feel like Count Dooku shouldn't get away. I know you have. It makes the start of the third pretty cool. I remember that being.
It
fun.
does, but it's also just like he really could just die here, and then the third film has more breathing room to do the other stuff.
Because I still think you could do like Yoda knocks out Count Dooku, and then he's like, "We'll capture him," and then Anakin's like, "Nah, I'm gonna fucking," because he took off my arm. Then tick. That's a nice way to end it.
Dunskies.
Anyway, the 6 Lego Star Wars just beating up Count Dooku. A pretty forgettable scene. Not a big fan. Again, the droid battle, and I believe the second level when you're at the water thing is a bit of fun. But overall, it's not a credit to the Lego Star Wars team. You did a great job of adapting this film, which is pretty boring.
Yeah. Do you have like we've pretty much reached the end of the film, haven't we? Anything else?
They get married, Padme and Anakin. I don't think that's right, but hey, sure, why not? Go on, thoughts?
Do we not think that perhaps this movie should have ended a little darker? Like, it should have been a bit more.
I think I don't want to I feel like it should have killed Count Dooku, right?
Yeah, like it's like it ends so happily that I don't know. It's just like the movie should end on the note of like him being wavering, sort of about going to the dark. It should be like where's it going to happen sort of thing. When's it going to happen? But instead, it ends so lovey-dovey.
It does, and it's a pretty toxic relationship. We love a toxic relationship on the podcast.
This is going to get an award for sure. The man wants a dictatorship, and she's like, "Go for it, babe."
He's like, "I killed a bunch of sand people over my mother," and she's like, "This is healthy. This will be good." Yeah, it's a weird one. It's definitely weird watching just this one. I feel like not many people just watch the second one without watching the first or third in many years. It's a weird one. It's a real weird one.
I'm especially defeated by the end of this one. I think this is a very long film to get through, and I don't think it has a lot of payoff. And as somebody that likes Star Wars and liked Star Wars so much, also when I was younger, I always thought this was a difficult film to sit through.
Which is crazy, because I think it's kind of a bit targeted as kids.
Yeah.
But is it? I don't know. I feel like the other ones are way more kid-friendly. This is dull.
Yeah. It definitely. Like, I think maybe that's why the first one has like a whimsy to it in terms of how targeted it is at kids. And then the third one has like a good, like, I don't know, it has more like interesting
There's issues with it, but like I could watch that one. I think I can remember each scene, and every scene's pretty like action-packed. It's like, well, that's good enough.
It has just good pacing. Like it has a lot of ground to cover, thus it moves very fast. Thus it has good pacing. This clearly feels like it's just treading water to get to the third one, and you're like, but why?
Okay, Carl. Who would watch just Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones? Go on.
Oh, yeah, so I think that's a good way of putting it. It's like, if for some reason you're like, it's the only one you're going to watch because we know it's for Star Wars fans already.
Yeah, but if I'm saying you don't know anything about Star Wars, you're not really interested in knowing it, but this is on, why and who are you? Why are you watching this? Who is this for?
I think this is a perfect film if you want a science fiction Valentine's Day movie. And you've never seen any of the Star Wars films, this is the pick for you.
You fucking actually nailed it. I'm gonna jump on that as well. This is the 50 Shades, but for like the boys picking the film. So it's a Star Wars film, but it's got enough romance. I think you get the gist without having to see the first or the third.
Yeah. You know how there's like people that have edited like the Hobbit movies into a movie and they've just like condensed things down in films. Yeah. If you wanted to, you could just get this film, cut out a handful of the parts, put in some porno from online, and then you've got yourself a Star Wars 50 Shades. I think it's right there.
What an atrocious watch. Imagine someone's cut just all the lightsaber battles of graphic porn, and that's a film. Coming this February 14th. Get your loved one and cozy on up to episode Attack of the Boners.
You've never felt the Force like this before. Oscar, palate cleanser?
We both watched The Matrix.
I'm glad you're on top of these. Matrix Resurrections.
God, we're going to... Hopefully no one finds this episode, because I feel like if you like Star Wars and like Matrix, the opinions we have are poor.
It's true. It is true, because people do not like the new Matrix.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a fun time.
I thought it was a very good fun time. And I think I've cracked it. I think I haven't seen The Matrix in a very long time, so I kind of forgot what the first one's, why everyone loves it. 'Cause I think everyone that really likes The Matrix really dislikes this one. I really like it. I think I really like the meta commentary on it. I like them sort of going, hey, how the fuck would you make a new Matrix film? Because we haven't got an idea. And I think they do it. I enjoyed it. We both discussed, I think you said like the middle drags a little bit.
Yeah, I think like the first 45 minutes and the last 30 minutes are its strongest. And then I think the middle is where it's definitely at its most sort of like generic, like it's through the motions generic sort of thing. I'm shocked people have such a visceral reaction to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty like... I looked at... it's a lot of 1-star reviews, which I get. If you're a big Matrix fan, I think this isn't what you really want. I think the film even comments on that, just like, listen, we don't know what we did. We're not sure. Here's what we want. You like it? But I think the general vibe is that it's sitting at like... You see, like, I don't know, I sort of looked on like Letterboxd and like IMDb, and it's sort of like a very high ones, very high tens, and then just like a general bell curve. It's a weird one, but I really liked it. I think it's, and I think the action at the end is some of the best I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, it's pretty exhilarating action at the end. Like just the setting and the scope and everything like that. I remember being really on board for the ending of that film. But yeah, I do think it's not like it's like I would probably go Matrix Reloaded, this one, and then Revelations is like a way further down. Revelations, I think, particularly sucks.
I remember when I was watching The Matrix, I watched it, went, that one's sick. Watched the second one, I'm like, not as good, but still with a vibe. Started the third one, had to turn it off. That third one, I don't really know what happens, actually. I was surprised in this fourth one that they died.
Like, spoilers if you haven't seen the Matrix trilogy, I guess.
Yeah, but if you're this... Anyway, well, that's a fun episode.
It's true. The direct your emails at Oscar. I think my opinions, ignore them. All right, Oscar, what are we reviewing next week?
Next week, we are doing the 1996, I believe, Godzilla film. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Matthew Broderick as an action star, who would have thought?
I believe he has a line where he says something about fish. So, get ready for that, I guess.
There's a part where he's digging for worms, and he's like, Godzilla's like worms or something. And you're like, all right.
I like it. I really like it. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.